Okay, I assume you've read the problem and tried it on your own. So let's just jump into the answer. Part A. Part A, actually, a lot of people miss. It sounds easier than it is. Does G have a relative min, max, or neither at 10? Well, don't jump in to plug in 10 into G right away. I need to know its derivative. And G prime is the derivative of an integral, so it's FTC part 1, is actually just f of x. Okay, so if I want to know G prime of 10, that's really f of 10, so that's what we're looking at here. And notice that f does not change signs. We go from negative to negative. Okay, so that's my reasoning here. It's neither, because f prime, or let me put G prime, or you can put f, G prime does not change signs at x equals 10. Now, it helps to say, we might add a little bit there, that this does equal 0. So we know it's min, max, or saddle, but it's neither because it does not change signs. So that kind of helps to say both. I probably should stick that in there. And that was only kind of 1 point, because somewhere in all these parts, if you had this relationship, they gave you another point. Usually you should have that relationship in part A. Okay, but they gave it to you credit anywhere in the problem. Okay, so the next part, part B, does the graph of G have a point of inflection? Okay, well, noticing that G prime of x is f of x, G double prime of x is going to be f prime of x. So we want to know when f prime of x changes signs, and that happens, let's see, f prime is really the slope. So we want to know when the slope changes. So let's see here. We are on, oh, it's only asking at 4, so not just the whole thing. So at 4, does the slope change? Yeah, we go from increasing to decreasing. Okay, so this f prime changes sign, so yes, it is a point of inflection. Now you could have more there. You could have f changes from increasing to decreasing. You're saying the same thing there, so you're good either way. That is worth another point, 1 more point. Okay. Part C, go back here. Whoop, didn't have another graph there. Well, we'll just keep going on this one. Find the absolute min value and the absolute max value of G. This is where a lot of people miss their points. So let me erase some of this to give myself some room. Absolute min, remember to check those endpoints, and that's where a lot of people forget and miss. Okay. Now we have to check several different places. We need to check those endpoints. I'm going to make a list here. We need to check x equals negative 4 and 12 for sure. But we also need to check, let's see, we're finding absolute mins and maxes. That occurs, we saw that in, I think, part A. G prime equals f of x. So G prime must change signs. So G prime changes signs when f changes signs. And that happens at negative 2, we go from negative to positive, and 6, we go from positive to negative. So we need to check all those points. Those are our possible points, but now we need to actually plug them in. So we need to find G of negative 4. Okay. Well, going back to this relationship up here, G of negative 4 is the integral from 2 to negative 4 f of t dt. Well, let's flip that because that's upside down. So that'll be the integral from negative 4 to 2 f of t dt. Let's find the area under the curve. So from negative 4 to 2, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Those two will be 0. So that give me 1/2. Base is 2, height is 4. So that will give me 4. Okay. Now I need to find G of 12. So same thing. I'll have the integral from 2 to 12 f of t dt. So from 2 to 12, once again, those are going to be 0. I just need this one. That's going to be negative. Oh, hold on. I forgot my negative on this one. Forgot that negative before I go any further. I get me negative 4. But here, same thing. I will get that triangle down there. It'll be negative 4 because it's below the x-axis. Now let's find g of negative 2. It's a 2, believe it or not. I'll have the integral from 2 to negative 2. Once again, that is upside down. Let's reflect that. Change the interval and make it negative. Negative 2 to 2. Sorry, my pen is doing something really funky right now. It's hard to write with. Okay, so from negative 2 to 2, that's just this triangle there, which will give me 1/2. Base is 4, height is 4. Now remember, it's negative because of this out in front there. So that would give me negative 8. Now let's find g of 6. Sorry, my pen is acting weird. 2 to 6, f of t dt. Well, 2 to 6, that's the same type of triangle. So I'm going to get positive 8. There's no I didn't have to flip the interval or anything. It's positive 8. Now, which one's the smallest? Right here is my absolute min. 8 is my absolute max. Sorry, my pen is really acting up there. Okay, and that was worth 4 points. So that was the big chunk of this problem right there. Okay, let me do part D. This is a tough one. This is a hard one. So I'm going to go here and clear this out so I can have some room. This is what just requires some thinking, and this is kind of an all or nothing problem. It's 2 points for the right answer. Either you get it or you don't. So it says, find the intervals for which g of x is less than 0. Okay, g of x is less than 0. So basically I have to kind of look at that and say, okay, what x values do I have to have where I would get a negative area compared to 2? So this is the x values I'm looking for. So starting at 2, if I look in this direction, well, first of all, if I do that, that's going to be from 2 to a negative 4, which would actually be negative, right, when I flip that. But first of all, the area itself is positive, but when I flip it, it's going to be a negative. So negative 4 is good. Look at negative 2. It's a positive area, but once again, I'd have to flip it, so we're good there. Let's check out 0. Positive area, but we would have to flip it, so we're good there. So pretty much anything from negative 4 to 2, because it's going to be a positive area, but I'd have to flip that interval, it's going to be negative, which is what it's asking for, and g of x is negative. Now let's look the other way. So from 2 to 4, that's a positive area. There's no flipping of that interval. 2 to 6 is a positive area. 2 to 8 is a positive area. 2 to 10, that's a 0 area. Finally, 12, that's going to give me a negative. So once I get into this chunk right here, the 10 to 12, I'm going to once again get a negative area. I'm too far from that too. 2 points, all or nothing. A lot of people miss this problem. Okay, that's a tough one.